All right, I guess I'd have to start this video off by saying WB Games sent me Mortal Kombat 11 for free. I guess I'd have to say that for disclaimer purposes, otherwise people will think I'm an asshole. So there you go, there's your disclaimer. Legally fulfilled. All right, so now let's talk about Mortal Kombat! Alright, so Mortal Kombat 11 is the 11th fighting game in the Mortal Kombat series. It picks up after Mortal Kombat X leaves off, and there's this new baddie, her name's Kronika, essentially Elder Goddess of Time. She's here to mess shit up, and so now you gotta take her out. First of all, let's talk about the story mode. The story mode's actually really compelling, though I do feel like they're using the time thing again. That's essentially what happened in Mortal Kombat 9. There wasn't time travel, but Raiden sent a message to himself in the past, and so it changed events going forward in the first Mortal Kombat trilogy. But now Kronika comes in, messes up some timeline stuff, so now present day Mortal Kombat characters meet their past selves. Doesn't change the fact that some of the interactions between some of the characters and their past selves, amazing. Talking about Johnny Cage. Everyone in their reviews has talked about Johnny Cage, but it's such a relatable thing for everybody. Like, Johnny Cage is one of the best arcs in the entirety of Mortal Kombat. Started out as this douchey, cocky asshole, and now by Mortal Kombat X, he's a grown family man. He's learned a thing or two. He learned that there was more that he had to offer than just douchey Johnny Cage. So when his past self comes in, he's just like, oh my god. Which, I'm not gonna lie, if 20-something-year-old me met me now, I'd be like, you'll learn. It's just such a great theme. I do feel like that's cheap though, because with that you can just undo things that they've done, so there's no real weight to some of the deaths that have happened. There's no gravity to some of the resolution some of the characters have felt. By Mortal Kombat X, Hanzo Hasashi is like, alright, I'm kind of over it. But no, now you have a past Scorpion he's the specter of vengeance still. Alright, well I guess that's still around. You get it though. You want to keep what people love, and you gotta find new ways of weaving it, and it's just hard to do, what can I say? Ronda Rousey plays Sonya though. Yeah, she does. Well, I'm not gonna lie, her voice acting does lend itself to Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It's not good. I'm just saying, like, I'm glad that she's living her dream. She is an MMA fighter, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter what a voice actor looks like or what they can do or what their particular set of skills is outside of voice acting. If you have someone who's a great voice actor, would be perfect for Sonya Blade, and they lay gravel on the weekends, or they're like a We Buy Gold sign spinner, who cares? It doesn't matter what they do. The fact that Ronda Rousey can fight doesn't change the fact that she's not a voice actor. So I suppose we should talk about the fighting element because it's a fighting game. And I do feel like the gameplay mechanics in this game, it does take a deviation. It does go a bit of a different direction. It's not like it's a completely entirely different game, but when I first got into it, I was like, this plays, I gotta do the tutorial. Even after doing the tutorial, I was like, oh yeah, different than MKX. I felt like Mortal Kombat X was a leap in the vein and line of Mortal Kombat 9. MK11's like a leap that goes a bit of a different direction. I feel like it's more defense oriented. Like Mortal Kombat X, and really every Mortal Kombat, my philosophy is best defense is a good offense. So I'm a very aggressive fighter. I love Scorpion with his two swords. I know everyone online hates people who use that build, but I loved that build. It's just like slash, slash, hit, teleport, hit, spirit. Like, I could do it all. It was great. This does not play so aggressively. You can tell you gotta be methodical. The combos are all hit, hit, smack, 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 smack. The best way I can phrase it is Mortal Kombat 11, I feel like, is tailored to competitive fighters, like Evo fighters, which means people who just love Mortal Kombat, like my casual ass, I'm like, I get my balls kicked in when I fight people. Even doing the tutorial, which you got to do it. By the end, the tutorial's talking about frames. Like, this kick has 7 frames. This punch has 3. So be sure to use that punch when going against that kick. Like, what? Which means there is a learning curve to us filthy casuals out there. You gotta really think about what you do. It's not about going in there. It's about your opponent fucking something up, whiffing a move, you blocking a move, then you strike. It's very block then counter oriented. When you fight online, you'll know what I'm talking about. Really, fighting online is what I call the great noob Cybot fight, because everyone plays as him. Or Scorpion. I like Kano in this one. Kano's really good. So that's my take on the combat. It's more complex combat, but it's not how I play Mortal Kombat, so I feel like I'm taking a hit there. Granted, people are very adaptable. I could adapt to survive, which I feel like I have, because like at first, the towers were crushingly hard, and they were like, all right, we'll patch them. Here's some coins and hearts and soul fragments in the meantime. To this day, I don't know if they did patch it. Did they actually patch it to make the towers easier? I feel like the towers are easier now. I don't know if I just got better at Mortal Kombat 11, but man, for those first few days, Holy shit, that was difficult. Even now, I can't say it's completely easy because of the gauntlet. I'm in stage 2 of a tower called the Gauntlet. Fuck that shit. I'm just not gonna pass it. Because life's too good. I'm too happy in life. I have a girlfriend who loves me. I love her. My dogs are doing well. My family's doing well. Things are generally good. I just don't need that kind of stress in my life. I don't need that shit. I don't need to want to throw my controller through my TV. I just don't need it. So it looks like the Gauntlet Stage 2, that's where we stop on that one. Gameplay-wise, they changed the meter. Like before in Mortal Kombat X and 9, you had 3 meter slots that built the meter bar. You did a meter burn special move, it would take 1 slot away. If it all filled up, then you could do your X-ray move and it would really punish someone. Now the meter's different. Like there's a defense meter that's 2 slots, an offense meter that's 2 slots, and you get your final blows super special move at the end when you're hurt enough, and you get 1 of those per match. And when you meter burn, like that meter fills back up pretty generously, so meter burning special moves is a huge way, it's a huge mechanic in Mortal Kombat 11. If you're not meter burning your special moves, you're not playing Mortal Kombat 11 right. You have to meter burn special moves, just the way it's meant to be played. However, I would always rely on that, like people meter burning, like, all right, you're not gonna hit me with your X-ray move, there is at least that, I know that. Whether it's against the computer, people online, I was always safe. Now the computer or anyone online can meter burn the fuck out of their special moves. You punish them enough, you hit them enough, now they have their super move. They'll still use that, which means if I had a nickel for every time the computer beat me with that much life left, I'd have a lot of nickels. Probably enough to buy the game. But admittedly, I do like that about that element of gameplay, because I never really used meter burn special moves. I always saved it for my X-ray move. Chip damage doesn't do dick. I can say that. You know those moments in any previous Mortal Kombat game where you're like, bing, they're like, oh, they're almost dead. Like, sweet, I'll just do Scorpion's teleport move, smack them, they'll block, but they'll still go down. I'll meter burn it and hit them twice. No, it doesn't do dick. They're just gonna do their super move and kill you. I will say graphically, definitely a step up from Mortal Kombat X. These graphics are insane. You notice it when you see the costumes and you know the fabric of each costume. It's like, oh, that's leather. That's cheaper leather. That's probably pleather. That's velvet. That's cloth. That's this kind of cloth. I mean, you can tell. That's really insane and quite brilliant. I guess I'll talk about the costumes. There's a lot to talk about with the costumes, between costumes, costume controversy, a lot of costume shit. There are seemingly a lot of costumes in this game, but really I'd argue for any given character, there are a couple, maybe a few costumes. Every other costume is a variant of those core costumes with different colors, so really you're just unlocking shaders. That's kind of a bummer. I feel like it's a bit of a bait and switch. Like, who's gonna play Sub-Zero with a red costume? That's weird. Red Sub-Zero is called Ermac, and he just has different moves. You feel like you're playing Ermac, but with ice powers. Even in Injustice, when you can make Sub-Zero different shades, when they actually used a shader system, because they were being honest about it, I still kept him blue. Green and white Scorpion costume. Scorpion's yellow and black. You can throw some white in there, some red in there, but yellow and black. I don't know, maybe I'm a traditionalist. I just think some of the color schemes for some of the characters, they look weird. Some of the costumes are really neat. Scorpion's took me a bit of time to get used to because I liked his Mortal Kombat X costume so much, but I fell into the appeal of Scorpion's costume in this one, his baseline costume anyway. The clothy one, but just, I ended up liking it. Kung Lao's costume's lame though. It might be more accurate and like traditional. I don't know. I'm gonna plead ignorance on that. All I know is that costume doesn't look as cool as his previous costumes. Same with Katanas. All right, now we'll get into the costume controversy. Clearly, the female costumes are not as revealing as they have been. Look, this is a fighting game. Fighting mechanic, that's #1 for me. In a weird way, I see both sides of this argument here. But really the bummer is retro costumes and throwback costumes, previous costumes they've had in other games, like Katana's costume from Mortal Kombat 2, maybe Mortal Kombat 3 or Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. It was always fun to unlock those in other Mortal Kombat games. Now that's just not a possibility because they're revealing costumes. And they've said we're not gonna have sexy revealing costumes in Mortal Kombat 11 for the women. So now they dress them kind of like ninja nuns. I mean, this just comes too short years after Starfire from Injustice 2. It's not like she's exactly conservatively dressed. I just want them to be honest about it. Don't give me the logic posturing like, well, you wouldn't fight in a bikini, so it's more logic. No, you wouldn't fight in that fucking thing either. Your legs get tangled in that front part, you'd trip, you get your fucking ass kicked in like 2 seconds wearing that thing. I do like Jade's costume because it's cool, like, you know, the hood, she's an assassin, I think it's neat, but I don't think anyone's gonna go to some 7th circle of hell if you give me a throwback Jade costume too. It's just that Katana's costume is just boring. It's just onesie spandex boring. There's no way Katana's costume in Mortal Kombat 11 is as interesting as the Mortal Kombat X and 9 costume. So I see why fans are like, you guys used to fight the man and now you're bending the knee. The Mortal Kombat was censored for Super Nintendo. But yeah, in a time where it was like, video game violence is gonna make people killers. Ed Boon and the team that made Mortal Kombat, they were like, fuck that. And they kind of poked fun at that whole thing with friendships. They did fight the man and now they're not. And maybe that's the difference between 20-something-year-old Ed Boon and 50-something-year-old Ed Boon. I don't know. Just want them to be honest about it. I want someone to be like, we just don't want to hear about it on social media for the next few years. Because we hear about it, about Mortal Kombat 9 all the time. We did that shit in 2011. And I get it. I'm sure that's obnoxious. But in the end, it is a weird call because it is Mortal Kombat. You're still ripping heads off and ripping spines out. But don't show too much skin. That would be bad. Not like gun violence is a thing. But how much leg did Katana show? Because that's the real question. Like, where do we draw the line in the sand in a game about killing people and ripping their heads off, ripping their spines out? We will ponder that question as Shao Kahn smashes someone's head out their asshole. So on one hand, I mean, social media has grown a lot in the past few years, so I get that they're trying to avoid the online shitstorm that might come from it. On the other hand, anyone who would say any shit about it probably doesn't play Mortal Kombat anyway. I feel like the gear is a step back from Injustice. Like, Injustice had a few bits of gear that you would get. It would make your characters look completely different. Like, all of my Batmans look very different. So many characters that just all look different. In this one, you have costumes, and then you have 3 things that you can change out in any character. That's the gear you get. You get gear for 3 things. Like Scorpion, it's his spear, his swords, and his mask. His mask, you can definitely tell. His spear, the combat's going so fast, you're not going to be like, oh wait, the spear and the sword's very different. Same with Kung Lao. One of them is like a little medallion on his hip. All right. You do get to change out his hat too, but what about the chest piece, the leg piece? Like, give me very different bits of gear. Like, Kano really lends himself to it. I like the different eye pieces with Kano, the different mechanical hearts with Kano, the different outfits. Sometimes he has tattoos, sometimes he doesn't, sometimes he's young, sometimes he's older. Kano's one of the most fun characters to change out gear with. Some aren't as interesting as Kano. Like, you look at my Katana builds, they all look identical, just different colors. Yeah, there may be a small difference. She has this like little half cape in the back, maybe she doesn't, but generally her outfit is the same set of pajamas. You do have the option of changing out special moves. Like in Injustice 2, you had to find the special moves. It's like they were item drops or something. This seems to have all of them out there and you can just build everyone how you want. I always feel like I fucked that up. I feel like I'm gonna go on the internet like, all right, best build for Scorpion, best build for Noob Saibot, best build for Kano, best build for Sub-Zero, who I never use because he's kind of clunky. So I feel like I could just have the game makers decide for me what build is best. And that's what they did with MKX, and it worked for me. But I'm glad you don't have to unlock moves. It just makes it better. There's already enough shit to grind and unlock in here. I don't need to do it for moves. You do have to find the brutalities though, so there is that. But I hate to live in a world where I don't have all the alities. Begin the grind. Woof. Some of their intro dialogues are a bit limited. Sometimes like you'll have the Revenant skin. I feel like the Revenant skin should be Revenant dialogue. But like, yeah, it's Jade like, what was it like fighting my Revenant as the Revenant? And I'm like, I don't know. You're the Revenant. You tell me what it was like. That's weird dialogue for that skin. I do think the crypt is great. It's grindy as hell, so that's the thing that's not so great about it. But the crypt itself is like this weird third-person adventure that's pretty fun. The next Mortal Kombat, I fantasize of a world where it's not just the crypt anymore. It's like the world. Like, give me the crypt mechanic from this game, but give me a world like in Mortal Kombat Deception where you go to different realms, you find different chests, you talk to people. That'd be a lot of fun. Just have this little RPG element in there. And I like the layout. Like, really, it's Shang Tsung's island is the crypt. So you go to all the locations from Mortal Kombat 1 that were stages, the fighting stages of Mortal Kombat 1, but it's laid out how his island would be. It makes it feel really alive. I really like what they did with the crypt here. So in the end, Mortal Kombat 11, it's fun. Like, I feel like after Mortal Kombat 9, I played Mortal Kombat X, I knew exactly how to play Mortal Kombat X. It was an extension of 9. There is a learning curve. I can't speak to their intent, but it does feel like they've structured Mortal Kombat 11 to appeal to EVO players and competitive players more. I feel like they want Mortal Kombat 11 to be like, you know, the staple of competitive play. Now that people talked a lot of shit about the new Street Fighter game. I appreciate what they did with the meter burn mechanic, making you have to use them as a main part of the gameplay. That kind of forced me to use it and I realized what I've been missing by not using it so much. But I feel like grinding for armor and the armor drops, the armor building your characters, customizing your characters in Injustice 2, I felt like it was better than Mortal Kombat 11. I feel like the gameplay in Mortal Kombat X just speaks more to me personally than Mortal Kombat 11. I'm having fun playing Mortal Kombat 11. There are some neat changes they did, but not all of the changes really gel with how I play Mortal Kombat. Long story short, Mortal Kombat 11, a lot of fun, worth buying at full price. The fatalities are pretty sweet. Doesn't hurt that the graphics are amazing. It's like every character has one fatality where you're like, all right, yeah, they died. That's point of them. And then they have the other fatality where you're like, fuck yes. Alright, so Mortal Kombat 11, have you played it? What did you think about it? How does it compare to the other Mortal Kombat games? At least 9, X, and 11. What's the order? Best to worst, worst to best. Whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.